Over the years, the world has become accustomed to the shocking claims of UFOs, or as they are now called, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. The hazy but haunting videos captured by U.S. Navy pilots. The tense, breathless congressional hearings where witnesses swear they are telling the whole truth. The accusations that the government is hiding something beyond human imagination. All of this keeps people's eyes fixed on the sky above them. We watch every strange light, every unidentified flying object, every unusual movement on the horizon. And in that moment, in everyone's mind, there flashes a question that no one can answer. Have aliens arrived? But just as the world is engrossed in the mysteries surrounding the Earth's atmosphere, something bigger, perhaps even scarier, is quietly approaching. Not from the sky above, but from infinitely farther away, from the cold void between the stars. That is the interstellar space, where every drifting object bears the mark of an alien planetary system, an origin that does not belong to the sun, does not belong to Earth, and is completely beyond the understanding of humanity. And in the midst of that endless darkness, a strange visitor is entering our solar system, an object that science can only determine. It does not come from here. A mystery that has the astronomical community confused, the scientific community debating, and even the space security agencies closely monitoring. That mystery is called Comet Atlas. Stay tuned, as the next few forums will open up new perspectives and may change the way they view their place in the universe. If you are fascinated by the mystery of Comet Atlas and want to see more amazing space stories, hit that like button and let the universe know you are following. Every click that helps keep the search for unknown life alive. Comment below and let me know where you are watching this. I want to know where in the world I am witnessing this with you. In the past few years, the U.S. Congress has started to look at UFOs in a completely different way. If before, stories about unidentified flying objects were just a curiosity or the subject of science fiction movies, now they have officially become a national security issue. Congress holds public hearings, questions the military, requests data and detailed reports from intelligence agencies. The reason does not come from the public imagination, but from the people who are flying the skies, the U.S. Navy pilots. They repeatedly recorded objects moving at speeds beyond all existing technical limits, changing direction abruptly on impossible trajectories, showing no signs of jet engines, emitting no heat, creating no shock waves despite flying at supersonic speeds, and, most notably, being virtually immune to radar when radar could not lock on. These phenomena posed a real concern for lawmakers. If this was not American technology, there were only a few chilling possibilities. Either superior technology from a rival nation, some form of unexplained natural phenomenon, or, what many were reluctant to admit, something extraterrestrial. Faced with irrefutable data, Congress was forced to consider all scenarios, no matter how controversial. But just as the nation was turning its attention to the skies above, another question began to arise. Are we so focused on objects in the atmosphere that we are ignoring what is approaching from farther out? Because if the real threat is not objects hovering tens of thousands of meters above the ground, but something approaching from hundreds of millions of kilometers away, then those hearings may have been misdirected. And then, right at the moment when the world was immersed in UFO fever, a strange object appeared, silently, coldly, but stunned the astronomers. It was Comet Atlas, a visitor from outside the solar system, an extremely rare object bearing the imprint of interstellar space. It did not orbit the sun like a normal comet, did not follow the familiar elliptical orbit, but instead plunged into the solar system on a hyperbolic path. A clear sign that it came from somewhere else and would leave forever. The appearance of 3I Atlas is not only an astronomical phenomenon, but also a reminder that perhaps the biggest threat is not the UFOs right above our heads, but visitors from the distant darkness of the universe, where humans have never really understood what is going on. 3I Atlas. Officially designated C-2025N1 Atlas, is now considered the third interstellar object ever recorded by humans in the history of modern astronomical observations. Previously, humanity only knew of two similar objects, ʻOumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. The appearance of 3I Atlas has further confirmed that objects from outside the solar system are not as rare as we once thought, although detecting them remains a major challenge. Unlike traditional comets, which form and develop in the solar system, 3I Atlas is determined to have originated from interstellar space. This means it does not orbit the Sun in a closed orbit like most familiar celestial bodies. Instead, it approaches the solar system on a hyperbolic orbit, an open orbit, indicating that it is a transiting object that will leave the solar system permanently after completing its journey. 3I Atlas was first discovered in early July 2025 by the Atlas Observation System, a network of telescopes that monitors objects that pose a potential collision risk with Earth. When scientists analyzed the trajectory of the light streak recorded by Atlas, they quickly realized that the path of this object did not match any previously observed comet or asteroid. It was the irregularity in the orbit that immediately suggested that this could be an interstellar object. However, what has attracted the scientific community's strong attention is its physical and chemical characteristics. One of the major points of debate is the observed carbon dioxide levels during the object's activity. According to initial data, the carbon dioxide emissions of 3I Atlas are significantly higher than those typically observed in comets in the solar system. This raises questions about its early formation environment. Was it formed in a star system with completely different chemical conditions? Or does the anomaly reflect a mechanism not seen in traditional comets? In addition, 3I Atlas's behavior is also unusual. Its brightness is inconsistent with established models, and its outgassing rate and the structure of its surrounding atmosphere are inconsistent with the predictions of current comet dynamics models. Some features even make it difficult for researchers to determine whether it is truly a comet in the traditional sense, or a less well-known class of astronomical object. 3I Atlas's approaching orbit has also attracted special attention from many space agencies. Although the object is not at risk of colliding with Earth, its approach is considered close enough to warrant special monitoring and analysis. The appearance of an interstellar object in the Earth's vicinity is a rare event, and each time it does, it provides a valuable research opportunity to learn more about the environment beyond the solar system. The appearance of 3I Atlas has also sparked discussions in the scientific community about the possibility of unnatural features. While the majority of the scientific community still favors natural explanations, a handful of researchers, notably Professor Avi Loeb, who has been critical of ʻOumuamua, have raised the question of whether the unusual features could open up the possibility of an unnatural origin. However, they also emphasize that this is a highly speculative hypothesis and requires extremely strong direct evidence to be taken seriously. However, the majority of the scientific community remains cautious, saying that more data is needed before any conclusions can be drawn. All in all, 3I Atlas is more than just a strange comet. It is a rare specimen from interstellar space, an environment that humans have not yet had direct access to. Every detail about it holds important scientific value, from its chemical composition to its working mechanism and material structure. Its unusualness not only expands our understanding of interstellar objects, but also raises larger questions about the origins of galactic objects and how they move through the universe. The U.S. Congress's interest in 3I Atlas is not a reaction to hype or a fad. It stems from a series of unusual signs that lawmakers believe need to be explained, especially in the context of the U.S. stepping up monitoring of unidentified phenomena in the airspace and in outer space. In official letters to NASA and related scientific agencies, some congressmen have clearly requested full disclosure of 3I Atlas observation data. The reason given is quite straightforward. The object is showing unexplained characteristics. One of the prominent issues is related to the unusual color change of 3I Atlas. According to preliminary reports, the color of the object fluctuates according to the time and angle of observation, which is not common for normal comets. Some lawmakers want to know whether these phenomena are due to natural physical and chemical activity, or are signs of an inhomogeneous or even artificial surface structure. In addition, there are concerns about the possibility of non-gravitational acceleration, a phenomenon in which an object changes its velocity in a way that cannot be explained by gravity or normal outgassing. The case of ʻOumuamua has previously sparked controversy because of its unusual acceleration as it left the Sun's orbit, and the fact that another interstellar object has shown similar signs has prompted Congress to seek more clarity. While no conclusions have been reached, the possibility alone has prompted them to press NASA to clarify its observational data. Another factor that has drawn public attention is the fact that some of the images and data from the telescope have not been released to the public. The lawmakers stressed that when an interstellar object approaches the solar system, all relevant information should be shared widely to promote independent research and avoid creating an information vacuum that can lead to false speculation. The public was even more confused when lawmakers used the phrase mandatory transparency, implying that information was being withheld or restricted. But the most important reason is security. The U.S. Congress placed UFOs/UAPs on the national security list in 2020, and when that policy is extended to extra-atmospheric phenomena, an interstellar object, even if it is scientifically a comet, would still need to be assessed for potential risks. In a political environment where any object of unknown origin is closely monitored, 3I Atlas becomes a special case, not only because of its rarity, but also because of the many unusual factors that come together. There is also a practical, alarming problem. If an interstellar object as large as 3I Atlas enters the vicinity of Earth and is only detected after it has come very close, it would be a serious flaw in the U.S. planetary defense system. Atlas is an early warning system, and the relatively late detection of 3I Atlas raises questions about the entire international network's ability to track interstellar objects. As NASA and defense agencies are pushing for space surveillance to avoid the scenario of an unidentified object approaching Earth without preparation, missing any data could have serious consequences. So the U.S. Congress's concern is not simply a reaction to a strange object, but also reflects a broader concern: the possibility that we do not fully understand what is going on in the space surrounding Earth. And the 3I Atlas is just one example that reminds us that humanity may still be missing important information about objects that come from places that current science cannot predict. From the moment it was discovered on July 1, 2025, 3I Atlas quickly became a topic of great interest in the international scientific community. Data obtained from the Atlas system showed that the object's orbit was completely inconsistent with that of comets in the solar system, and after analysis, astronomers confirmed that this was the third interstellar object ever discovered. This immediately put 3I Atlas on the special watch list. From July to September 2025, many observatories around the world continuously recorded unusual changes in the object's brightness. Instead of increasing in brightness steadily when approaching the Sun like traditional comets, 3I Atlas appeared to have an unstable dimming phenomenon, which is difficult to explain with conventional physical models. Spectroscopic measurements from this period also revealed unusually high levels of carbon dioxide, suggesting that the object may have formed in a chemical environment very different from that of the solar system. By late 2025, several independent research groups reported the possibility that the object exhibited mild non-gravitational acceleration, similar to that observed with ʻOumuamua. While the data were not conclusive, this suspicion alone raised debate about the true mechanism of 3I Atlas's motion. According to published observations, 3I Atlas's perihelion, closest distance to the Sun, occurred in early 2026, and simulations suggest that the object will leave the inner solar system entirely by late 2026 or early 2027. This means that scientists have a very short window to collect valuable data before the object disappears from view. In terms of predictions, most astronomers believe that 3I Atlas could provide important information about early interstellar matter, helping to better understand how planetary systems formed elsewhere in the Milky Way. However, a small group believes that its anomalies, including its changing color, unstable behavior, and non-gravitational acceleration, raise questions about whether 3I Atlas is some kind of unclassified object, or even the artificial structure of another civilization. While most scientists are wary of the unnatural hypothesis, they also emphasize that interstellar space is an environment that humans are only just beginning to explore. The fact that 3I Atlas carries so many unusual characteristics makes it a rare opportunity to expand our understanding of the universe, and a reminder that objects from beyond our solar system still hold many unsolved mysteries. The most important question facing scientists is, where did this object come from, and what is its nature? Although there is currently not enough data to draw definitive conclusions, many research groups around the world have proposed the most likely scenarios based on observations collected until late 2025 and early 2026. Scenario 1. Ancient comet formed from a distant star system. This is the scenario considered by many scientists to be the most reasonable. Accordingly, 3I Atlas could be the remnant of the formation of a planetary system somewhere in the galaxy, hundreds of millions to billions of years old. The unusually high carbon dioxide content is seen as a sign that its formation environment may have been significantly different from that of the solar system, especially in the early stages of solid matter formation. Simulation models suggest that this object may have been ejected from its star system by gravitational interactions or collisions when large planets were forming. Scenario 2. The object was ejected after a large collision in another star system. Some scientists believe that 3I Atlas may be a fragment from a large-scale collision event between two icy planets or large bodies in a distant star system. This could explain the unusual chemical composition. Current data are insufficient to determine whether 3I Atlas is solid debris or a porous structure like a comet, but observations of fluctuating brightness suggest that its surface structure may be heterogeneous. Scenario 3. A previously unclassified type of interstellar object. Several independent teams have suggested that 3I Atlas's unique characteristics, from its variable brightness to its asymmetric coma, could point to it being a type of object not currently catalogued by any astronomical body. In this scenario, 3I Atlas could represent a new class of object in the interstellar medium, similar to how ʻOumuamua forced astronomers to expand the definition of small objects in the universe. Scenario 4. Artificial object or signs of technological structure. This is the most controversial scenario. Some scientists, including those who have argued for ʻOumuamua, have suggested that its unusual gas ratios, unusual outgassing behavior, or non-gravitational acceleration could suggest that the object is not entirely natural. However, most experts stress that there is currently no direct evidence to confirm this hypothesis. However, in a field where data is still very limited, the unnatural hypothesis is still considered a research direction that needs to be tested rather than dismissed at the outset. Important predictions for the coming period. In 2026, when 3I Atlas reaches perihelion and then begins to move away from the Sun, Ground-based and space-based telescopes will have the opportunity to record valuable data on the object's spectrum, brightness variations, and physical activity. Scientists predict that the period from February to October 2026 will be a crucial time to determine the true nature of 3I Atlas before it becomes too faint to observe. Many predictions suggest that if the object continues to show abnormalities in its orbit or composition, it could force the scientific community to revise existing models of interstellar matter. On the other hand, if additional observations show that 3I Atlas is consistent with a normal comet, it will still be a valuable example of how matter forms in distant star systems. Whatever the final outcome, 3I Atlas is considered one of the rare opportunities for humanity to directly study a sample from outside the solar system, a window into the diversity of planetary systems in the vast universe. Since its identification as an interstellar object, 3I Atlas has generated two opposing views among observers and the public. First, the view that 3I Atlas is a potential threat. Those who follow this view believe that any object coming from outside the solar system carries a high level of risk because its origin and structure are completely unpredictable. No one knows whether the material of 3I Atlas is stable or if it can break up when approaching the sun. Just a small piece of a few tens of meters hitting Earth is enough to cause a regional disaster, like the Tunguska event in 1908. Some opinions do not even rule out the possibility that the object has signs of unnaturalness, not because there is clear evidence, but because it has not been proven otherwise. The fact that some observational data has not been released immediately by NASA has made the public more suspicious and prompted Congress to demand information transparency. Second, the 3I Atlas view is just a normal comet. On the other hand, most scientists believe that 3I Atlas does not pose a real threat. Its behavior, including increased brightness, outgassing activity, and tail formation, is consistent with natural comets. 3I Atlas's closest approach to Earth was more than 1.8 AU, or more than 270 million kilometers, too far to pose any collision risk. The observed anomalies may simply reflect differences in materials in the interstellar medium, not signs of alien technology. However, the real danger is not 3I Atlas. Whether 3I Atlas is dangerous or not, its appearance points to a bigger weakness. Humanity still does not have a strong enough space surveillance and defense system. The late detection, or inability to accurately predict the behavior of interstellar objects, shows that we are not ready to deal with risks from space. The greatest danger lies not in an object like 3I Atlas itself, but in our ability to detect, track, and understand these uninvited guests. 3I Atlas, in this hypothetical scenario, becomes a wake-up call for the urgent need to upgrade our space surveillance and planetary defense systems, so that we are not caught off guard by any object, harmless or potentially dangerous, from the depths of the universe. 3I Atlas is just a warning that we are still too ignorant and too unprepared. While Congress continues to search for the truth about UFOs, 3I Atlas has appeared and reminded us of something deeper. The scariest things may not come from Earth, but from thousands of light years away. Maybe 3I Atlas is just a lonely comet, or maybe it is evidence that there is more to the universe than we are prepared to face. Either way, the lesson 3I Atlas brings is clear. Don't just look close. Don't just focus on UFOs in the atmosphere. The real danger may come from places much farther, larger, and more unpredictable. Is 3I Atlas just the first warning?